Jacob, and this is the Pels Press Podcast. So, for all of you that watch this, it is officially my debut. It's the first time I put my name, my face kind of out there on Twitter. So, this is me. Like I said, my name is Jacob. Here I am. I've been a fan of the team for a really, really long time. I was young, I was about 8 years old, and it was a preseason game. The New Orleans Hornets then were playing the Miami Heat, and basically what happened was I was able to be on the court, and I was able to be one of the ball boys, and I got dapped up by D Wade and then Chris Paul, and ever since then, man, I've been the team in New Orleans has been my team. Pelicans, Hornets, doesn't really matter. That's my team. My dad, he coached Division I basketball, so I literally grew up around basketball. That's all I did growing up. It was just I was always the ball boy, always shagging missed shots or whatever it was. I grew up literally in locker rooms, so I talk about basketball a lot. I love basketball. I love the Pelicans, and so this was an opportunity for me to combine a couple different things that I really love and to just talk about it. And the saying is true so far. It's that no matter what it is that you do that you're passionate about, you when you do it, it's not a job, it's not work. And that's how I feel about this page. And I can't wait to talk to more of you now that you know who I am, learn more of you and out there in the Pelicans world. So all that done, introduction done. Now let's get into it. So a majority of the game felt very much in control for the Pelicans. It was really awesome to see the broadcast team in a way. I don't know. I love Doris Burke. She's absolutely awesome, but they seemed very determined to talk about Zion. He had a big chain on the side of the bench. He was in that custom G-Temp suit and everything, and it seemed like even at the very beginning of the game, they wanted to point and they wanted to talk about Zion. And just about the time they were getting into what they wanted to talk about with him, you saw Brandon Ingram come off the top rope and absolutely absolutely dunk all over, put him on a poster bad with Zach Collins. And, I felt bad for him afterwards. It's always tough to see somebody go on a poster, but Brandon Xavier Ingram dunked all over that man, and it was awesome to see. And that's what he's done all season. He has been the spark plug for us, and it's really, really awesome. This really set the tone for the rest of the game, from the broadcast, from the team, from the vibe in Smoothing King Center. That's what made the game so much more enjoyable. Was all right, our best player, our number one guy, the guy that's been here through thick and thin, he has set the tone for the rest of the game, and it was awesome. I wrote a little bit of a segment here to talk about the refs and how bad they were, but genuinely, they were pretty bad on both sides. A lot of foul calls early on DeJounte Murray, as well as Brandon Ingram. And, that's just part of the game, unfortunately. It feels like nowadays is that everybody is going to be talking about how bad the refs have been. Ticky-tack fouls here and there, some weird offensive fouls on Jonas and DeJounte Murray, and BI, especially trying to post up a smaller defender. It was weird. It was a poorly officiated game, and it stinks that it was that way. But that's part of the NBA in 2022. You thought it was going to be a little bit different because of the beginning of the season, but kind of unfortunately, it has again become something that really is a problem, needs to be addressed. I don't know what the NBA is going to do about it, but they need to do something about it. We'll see if they do. I doubt that they will, but we'll see. One of the more kind of exhilarating, one of the awesome things to see for all of us as fans has been the development and has been the play of all of our young players. And I say young, kind of relative, young in the league players. So, first year, second year guys, Jose Alvarado's a little bit older. He's the same age or right there at least with Brandon Ingram. And so you say young player, young in the league player, because these guys have come in with a lot more experience. And that's what Trajan and Swin and David Griffin in the scouting department, it seems like that's what they look for this year. And Trey Murphy, chosen at 17, He was a couple-year player at Rice. He played for 2 years, and then he transferred to play at a bigger school. And so he was an older player, right? And so then you look at Herb Jones, who played several years at Alabama, and then you look at Jose Alvarado, who was the undrafted, the love story of kind of the NBA this year, and he played all 4 years at Georgia Tech and also was undrafted. So shout out to our scouting department for all these different things that they've done well, really well this year. And like I said, one of the more awesome things since the All-Star break really is the play of our young guys. These these first and second, third-year players in the league that have really, it's seemingly taken that jump. And I throw Jackson Hayes in there as well. And so that means, Najee Marshall, Jose, Trey, and honestly, Herb Jones is there. But one of the guys that we don't talk about a lot just because he's kind of been in and out, but because of the Birmingham squadron and some of his other teams, Jared Harper is a baller. Like, he is very, very good. I'm very excited to have him as a part of the Pelicans organization as a whole. He seems to be just a genuinely really awesome guy. While Harper has seen a lot of inconsistent minutes this year, it seems like his pedigree and his reputation, I guess, as a scorer has been seen not only in practice by the coaching squad, and that has transferred over to games. And we've seen him a lot of times. You've seen the minutes that he's had. He's had 7 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that, at the end of the game. But he's had 13, 14 points. So oftentimes when he gets in, he does what he does best, and that's become a pure scorer, and he does that very, very well. So I just really wanted to give a shout out to Jared Harper while we talk about all of our young guys. I think he's one that we definitely need to include. And his undersized companion in Jose Alvarado, if you will, has gained more national media attention, from getting Embiid to pay for a tech early on the season to going to Brooklyn and having, BI pay for a lot of his friends and family to come see the game and see him go home. And him having a great game in Brooklyn was only a sign of more great things that were going to come from this awesome person. And I think for him, he deserves all the flowers, if not more than he's getting for his on-the-court play. A lot of times what the Pels 12, what we have talked about as fans is we've got to change the culture. Changing the culture. Antonio Daniels talks about it all the time. We've got to change the culture. We've got to do this. We've got to do that. And we've seen a lot of these seeds that we've planted blossom in Antonio Daniels, in Brandon Ingram's relationship, in Willie Green. I mean, I think the biggest example is seeing C.J. McCollum come to the Pelicans. He would not have suggested, or I guess asked the Blazers to trade him here if he didn't see, hey, what they have going on in New Orleans is not normal. And so because of that, I think it's really, really awesome. We've seen a lot of that. And so, like I said, Jose deserves a lot of his roses on the court. But I think Jose, and I'll throw Willie in there too, as well as, Willie, Billy, whatever you want to say, Hernan Gomez as well. They have really contributed to the overall, the fun-loving, the awesome, the care for each other, we're going to fight for you, we're going to be ready, we're going to be here. If you need us, we're going to step up no matter what. I think that has been a very cool thing to see from Jose, who, like I said, is a first-year player. We talk about it all the time, but sometimes it seems like he's been in the league for several different years with the reads that he makes off pick and roll, with his energy, with even the hiding in the corner, getting a steal type thing. That's some veteran type, I'm going to get you thing that he's done for a lot of his career. So it's been really awesome to see him as well. Trey Murphy is one of those guys who's made his way onto the floor a little bit later in his quote-unquote career so far. It's really been, again, I don't want to use the All-Star break as a marker, but I think it fits really well in this conversation about Trey Murphy, right? He made his way onto the court and once he's been in the rotation consistently, he hasn't stepped off the court. And that's just what it is. And because of that, he's been rewarded with more minutes. And, his defensive instincts are getting a little bit better. He's making those decisions a little bit quicker. He's not as scared to take that three-point jumper from the corner. I think for me, I cannot remember the game off the top of my head, but one of the games that I was like, oh, he's starting to figure it out, was the game where he was on the wing might have been in the corner, had the ball in a three-point or 3-point stance, and he did a jab step, came back and shot and just drained it. I was like, okay, he's taking that step. He's mentally he's there. He's ready to go at whoever is in front of him. He's gotten that confidence, and that's been really awesome to see. Really great development, and him dunking all over people has been a healthy thing that I don't think a lot of other scouts or even maybe our front office to a degree really expected him to be putting dudes on posters. Last night in the Spurs game, he hung in the air for 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 20, 30. I don't know however many seconds he was there, and was able to contort, get a shot up, and make it. And it was really awesome to see. All that on top of the fact that he was the rookie leader in 3-point percentage. That doesn't happen. That's not natural, for somebody to be able to do that type of things. And obviously the rookie that everybody's enamored with is Herb, and Herb is awesome. He's not going to go away. And last night he had a difficult task of guarding DeJounte Murray. He's a baller. I mean, he was an all-star this year, and Herb Jones didn't back down from that. We've all seen the metrics, and I could go on and on and on about Herb Jones' defense. But, to all the people that are going to watch this, how great it is for him to, be where he's at. His free throw percentage is really good. His 3-point percentage is really good, especially when you compare it to his college numbers. I just don't think anybody expected him to take this huge jump. It was awesome. It has been awesome to see. And not only is it awesome to see, but he's just such a good person. Really, our whole rookie class, you can look from top to bottom, include, Jared Harper in that. And it's just like, these are just awesome people you want to root for because of their character, because of where they come from, because of their story, because of their underdog mentality. And that's why I think so many Pelicans fans love these players that we've brought in this year, is because they embody what this city is, right? We are an underdog city. We don't deserve an NBA franchise. We don't deserve an NFL franchise. They talk about all these other different things, and we don't care. We're an underdog in the eyes of so many different, franchises and all these other places that you could add. It's been awesome to see. And I cannot help but root harder for these guys that have the same mentality as the city, that have been through some really difficult things, especially if you look into their story. I mean, look at Herb Jones. I mean, I think the picture that I love seeing circulated around is when he's in the game with a cast on his hand and he's shooting his free throw with one hand. That's awesome. That's awesome to see. That just embodies who the city is and who these guys are. It's been awesome. It's been really, really awesome to see. So last night, one of the key points that really stood out to me was obviously Brandon Ingram was amazing, and he's as advertised. But I think CJ really was an absolute menace in the first half and really stepped up when we needed him to in the second half. And it was very awesome to see that consistent, high-level, stable veteran presence in our guards, and guard scoring as well. The Pelicans have really been missing for the past couple of years. And seeing somebody like that just makes you give your hat, tip your cap, all praise to the front office for making that decision, for pulling the trigger, even though myself included wasn't a huge fan of the trade, just because of how much I really like Josh Hart. And I'll gladly admit that I was wrong, but I will add the caveat that I do still miss Josh Hart a pretty good bit. Overall, it was a pretty incredible game from top to bottom. At no point did I, as a fan, feel like the game was swinging away, maybe out of reach for us. I never really felt that we had a chance of losing. And that was really kind of a new territory I felt like to be in. And when we talk about the postseason, whatever you want to call the play-in game. The Spurs have a very good team. They have a very good, very young team, I should say. And I think they will be, a team to watch going forward, especially with, Coach Popovich. They will always be competitive. They're going to be competitive because of Coach Pop and how their defensive schemes, their defensive rotations, their offensive, stability in certain guys. And one of those was DeJounte Murray, but DeJounte versus Herb, it's a one-on-one league. and last night Herb just kind of got the better of Murray. Murray's still a really good player. Like I said, he got his All-Star first All-Star nod this year, and genuinely, it was just a good game. Like I said, from top to bottom. So now let's look forward to the game tomorrow. The Clippers and the Pelicans have a very weirdly similar roster construction. I know it sounds weird because you're like that, that doesn't make any sense how, but they have got a lead forward. Brandon Ingram, Paul George, they have a lead forward. They have an old school, back to the basket big, which is, obvious for us, it's JV. And for them, they have somebody who I think is underrated in a lot of those kind of discussions with Zubac. I think he's very, very good at what he does, especially for them. And they have a dynamic scoring guard, Reggie Jackson, for them, obviously CJ now for us. So it's a pretty awesome kind of comparison, this battle of two rosters. I think that the X factors are always going to be that where that the other scoring will come from. Traditionally it's been from CJ and BI and JV, and the same for their big three. But we'll see where it comes from tomorrow. I think that'll be huge to see what happens in the individual matchups. I think both second units for each team are very, very good. I think I would probably give, as much as I love our second unit, the second line, right? As much as I love our guys, I would give probably the edge to the Clippers second unit when they're completely healthy. I think they play really, really well together. And I think that any one of them can just pop off for a 20-point night at any given point. I think our guys can too. But I think our second unit is so awesome right now that we can only develop into something greater. So I think their second unit might be a little bit better than ours at the given moment. But I think that, again, it's competitive. We're an underdog. We have that underdog fight in us. We're ready to fight, and I think that's the positive part of our second unit, is that they are ready to fight. I think the name of the game in this will be, who can stop the other team's big three. I know it sounds simple enough. It sounds stupid, but I feel confident saying that both teams truly kind of have this three-headed dragon, if you will, with their starting lineups. And the Clippers and Ty Lue are going to blitz Brandon Ingram. They're going to double CJ. That's what they did in previous matchups. That's what they will continue to do. And it will be huge for both CJ and BI to be able to see different matchups, see who is blitzing them, to distribute back and forth, and to make sure that we find the open guy. I don't have to tell them that. They know that. Willie Green's preparing them for that. This is something they've been doing all year, and that we've seen Brandon Ingram probably he's been better this year at distributing and finding other people, passing, getting in different defensive lanes, as well as finding different offensive lanes, whether it be passes, whether it be scoring, whether it be finding his mid-range that he really, really loves. Whatever it is, we've seen him take that second leap, really just an incredible leap this year in his playmaking ability with the roster that has really been around him. So ultimately, the Pelicans have the best defender on either team. In my opinion, obviously, I think a lot of people would agree that, Herb is that dude. He is the best defender when it comes to either team. I don't feel any type of way saying that. Like I said, I'm pretty confident in that. And one of the things that we have gotten accustomed to as Pelicans fans is Herb Jones covers a lot of our defensive miscues, whether it be miscommunication, whether it be a lazy switch, or a bad pick and roll coverage. Whatever it is, we've seen a lot of Herb Jones being able to cover it up. But in the playoffs, it gets a little bit more difficult because, teams are searching out those individuals and searching out those individual matchups. Because of the playoffs, things do get a little bit slower. And so we'll see that tomorrow. I think last night a good example is before the end of the half, they were searching for Trey Murphy. So Coach Willie Green made a good defensive adjustment right before half, right before the Spurs were about to come to take the ball down, and made the switch for Trey and Herb, so they weren't able to get a half court shot or a good half court set off without at least Herb being there. So I think we are very fortunate to have Herb, but we need other guys to step up defensively. whether it be JV or Jackson. BI has really stepped up this year. CJ or Najee, Trey, Jose, all those other guys have got to make that. Larry Nance have got to make that step up as well next year or next game tomorrow. So we'll see with the Clippers. I think it's going to be a really good matchup. I'm excited for it. I will be tuned in. I know it's going to be an unfortunate another West Coast game for all of us here, but we'll see. Again, it's going to be who can mess up the other person's rhythm the best. Clippers coming off a loss, Pelicans coming off a win. Hopefully, we can take advantage of that positive momentum from the Smoothie King Center last night and push it forward and become that 8th seed. And then you're when you're in the 8th seed, you're expected to lose. So if you lose, it stinks. It's not fun, but you can do whatever you want. You're supposed to lose. You can try different coverages. You can try different schemes and sets and all these other different things because you like I said, you're an underdog. You can do anything. I mean, this year, March Madness, we saw St. Peter's take on Blue Bloods and absolutely kill them because they had nothing to lose. They were fighting scrappy. They were on the floor first. They were sticking to their defensive and offensive game plans, and they were just invigorated with what their team stood for and their locker room. And that was really awesome to see. And I think we could see a similar thing with the Pelicans going forward against the Clippers if we beat the Clippers and then go on to play the Suns. The Pelicans, they come into the game up 3-1 on the Clippers for the regular season series. It's a postseason. It's in LA. Pelicans have to come ready to play and continue their postseason hopes. I really appreciate all you have given me love on the socials, and I hope you continue to. If you like this podcast, please let me know. I am Jacob, and this is the Pels Press Podcast. Peace.